People like to say that racism is expensive, but in the United States of America in 2025, racism is quite profitable. Folks will quickly and correctly point out that what ICE is doing in the United States, terrorizing, brutalizing, abducting immigrants, is absolutely an ethnic cleansing. It's also big capitalism, though. I think that we have to constantly remind ourselves and each other that everything this regime does, yep, it's would-be fascism, yep, it's cruelty, absolutely, it's racism, it's also a grift. Everything that they do is a grift. And if we look at what is being done on the scale of Homeland Security, tens of billions of dollars, it actually would constitute graft, not grift. Widespread, intense political corruption using billions and billions of our taxpayer dollars to carry out an ethnic cleansing, to terrorize hundreds of thousands, millions of immigrants in the United States. Folks who are United States citizens, folks who are here on asylum, folks who have permanent resident status, married to American citizens, veterans, folks who are here entirely legally working through our convoluted, extremely protracted immigration process, as well as folks who are here undocumented, working very hard, paying in to Social Security, paying into all kinds of government services and programs that they can never draw from because they are undocumented, paying rent, contributing to the economy, working so hard, being valued members of our community, our neighbors, folks we go to church with. This is who ICE is targeting. These are the people, the human beings, the families that ICE is targeting, terrorizing. And it's easy to say, well, they're doing this just because of racism, because they are just profoundly cruel, inhumane people. But I think the truth of it is far more disturbing. It's far more heartbreaking that these are people who are willing to commit violence against other people in the name of profit in order to become extremely rich. Before the election, so many of us were sounding the alarm that these for-profit corporations, some of them private, some of them publicly traded, like Geo Group and Core Civic, they were buying up land in various states in order to build more of these detention facilities, concentration camps. I mean, Core Civic and Geo Group have had government contracts to run ICE detention facilities for years and years and years. What our government has done in terms of immigration and customs enforcement has been for many years a graft. It has for many, many years been a setup where private corporations can make a shit ton of money. But they all had big dollar signs in their eyes when they heard about Project 2025 and what Donald Trump wanted to do. The almost exponential expansion of government contracts as they ramped up an ethnic cleansing in this country. A whole lot of motherfuckers had dollar signs in their eyes, and they're getting really rich right now. After all, these corporations that run these detention facilities, they get something like $120,000 to $150,000 a year per immigrant that they keep in detention. How many millions of dollars is Avilo Airlines getting paid to take Central American immigrants who are in this country and fly them to places like Uganda, other countries in Africa where they don't speak the language, they have no relatives, they can't work. The cruelty is unfucking believable, and these guys are doing it in the name of profit. The just absolute craven nature of their greed is just, it's mind-boggling, I think, for your average person with any ability to have empathy and to connect with their humanity. It's mind-blowing how these guys can sleep well at night, how they're very, very comfortable making a huge profit off of human rights violations, off of essentially, I was going to say essentially slavery, slave labor, but I haven't laid the foundation for that argument yet. So give me just a second and I'll explain what I mean. So there's billions and billions and billions in government contracts for these corporations. They are making a shit ton of money. A lot of men are getting extremely wealthy just off of our taxpayer dollars, but that's just the beginning of the ways that they are doing a big capitalism. They are exploiting this entire dynamic. They are exploiting an ethnic cleansing for their own enrichment. I've had it in my notes for several weeks to discuss the other ways that these for-profit corporations like Core Civic and Geo Group are raking in massive profits off the back of an ethnic cleansing. freedomforimmigrants.org has been discussing this for a long time, because some of this is not really a new issue. It's just the scale of it is much larger now, and we're becoming more aware of it because what ICE is doing is really present in the news, right? Our consciousness has been raised about this, but this has been going on for quite a while. So for folks who have been snatched by ICE, when they are in detention facilities, these for-profit corporations don't actually care about providing them with adequate food, shelter, water, good facilities, right? Any way that they can pare back their expenses, that increases their profit margin. So the conditions in these detention facilities, concentration camps, are just like really horrific to begin with. And then they charge the immigrants for a number of services, including using the phone. Freedom for Immigrants reports that a 15-minute phone call can cost an immigrant in detention as much as $17. A 15-minute phone call can cost as much as $17 because they are placed through an independent telephone company that pays the immigration detention facility a commission for every phone call, essentially a kickback that ranges from 15 to 60%, either as a portion of revenue or a fixed upfront fee or a combination of both. When immigrants call their family members, when immigrants call their attorneys, these for-profit businesses rake in a profit. And then there's been additional reporting the last couple of weeks about how immigrants are expected to work off these bills. None of this should be surprising considering our for-profit prison industry, much of what Geo Group and CoreCivic do in the United States and also in other countries like South Africa, is very much based on the for-profit prison model.
A big part of why these raids are happening is very sinister. I go into these detention centers. There's all sorts of people in there, right? There's farm workers, there's day laborers, there's people who've been here for 20 years who have, multiple U.S. citizen kids. The way that these people in these detention centers keep in touch with their kids is they make phone calls. And these phone calls, they get charged $5 per phone call. And the way they make money in these detention centers is they work. And for a full day of work, they get paid $1. And so the people in there, right, the fathers who want to talk to their kids, they work a full week to make one phone call with their kids.
I mean, that's slavery. I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
It absolutely is. These detention centers are run by private for-profit prison companies, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars for every single person who's in there. That's why they're not just going after criminals or people with criminal convictions. They're just finding anybody with brown skin.
Right.
Because they're looking for bodies to put into these prisons so they can keep on stealing from taxpayers.
As horrifying as this all is, the grift, the graft, the way that corporations and the Republicans use late-stage capitalism, use racism to make big, fat profits off the backs of immigrants, off the lives of immigrants, and off the American taxpayer. There's actually a whole other layer to this, and it's something that I talk about an awful lot. We need campaign finance reform. We need dark money, corporate money out of our politics. Because the lobbying groups, the PACs for these for-profit corporations, they are greasing the palms of politicians in both parties.
That's crazy.
These for-profit prison companies donate almost an equal amount between Republicans and Democrats.
Right, yeah.
And that explains so much about why Trump is back. Because you have on the Republican side a party that is attacking immigrants and saying immigrants are the cause of all of the problems in this country. And Democrats are trying to fight back and say, hey, actually, immigrants are not so bad. But they're fighting with one arm, saying immigrants are not so bad, and their other arm is tied behind their back by all these for-profit prison companies that they're taking checks from.
You see, for so many of these government contractors that are benefiting tremendously under Donald Trump with all of the overt corruption we have now, they want to ensure their profitability no matter who is president. These guys were making billions when Joe Biden was president, after all. So they make sure if they donate to both parties, that's why we need to have corporate money, dark money out of our politics. Because can we ever really have elected officials who are actually truly going to fight to stop this madness, to stop this kind of cruelty, corruption, exploitation, if they are at the end of the day profiting off of it, if they are at the end of the day relying on these corporations to help fund their re-election campaigns and their stock portfolios? Problem is so much more cruel and craven and expansive than I think a lot of us realize. I hope that the level of awareness and education people are getting about what ICE is doing now and has been doing for the last 2 decades is building a movement to abolish ICE and to get corporate money out of our politics.